What is up, Bucko Nation? Welcome to the Pirates Live 412 Weekly Show. I am Mason Tepesky, your host. Tonight we are going to discuss this past week in the Pirates, the road trip to Houston and Atlanta. We will then take a look at the standings. They're not 100% accurate right now because there's a game going on between the Giants and the Cubs in Wrigley. Sunday Night Baseball tonight started at 8:30 rather than 7:10, 7:05 when it normally starts. So we might not have that game in. I will check when it's time, and I will kind of update you accordingly on standings. But I want to go get this one done early so I can get to bed. I'm going to try to do these shows earlier for sure and quicker for sure because I think that's what you guys want. We'll then obviously we'll name the star of the week in between that. So we'll go for the schedule or what happened this past week. We'll then name the star of the week. Then we will do the standings. Then we'll take a look at how our minor league teams are doing. We'll take a look at the top prospects. And then we will preview this week's series against the defending World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers and the Miami Marlins for Bucko Luau weekend at PNC Park. Super excited this team's coming home this week. It should be a fun series at the ballpark for sure, and I can't wait to get back down there for sure. All right, first off, let's get into this week here. But before that, real quick, I just do want to talk about something real quick. Like I said, we're going to try to do a quicker show tonight. So, yeah. The past ones have been 40, 45 minutes. This one I'm shooting for about 35. So, that's where I'm going to try to cap us off. But I'll be quick with this. Hang on. Okay, here we go. So, obviously, when the NFL draft came to Pittsburgh, about 6 weeks ago. It was 6 weeks ago. It was exactly 6 weeks ago when the draft ended. I announced that I would be also launching Steelers Live 412 and Panthers Live 412. Steelers Live 412 is launching July 26th, if you don't know. Panthers Live 412 is launching August 16th. This past week, I began the process of putting together a massive master plan that is going to cover where we are headed with this channel. And it's going to be great. I'm not going to talk about it a whole ton right now because I'm still working on it. But I will just say good things are upcoming soon. So just know that I'm working on a great plan for this and I'm so excited for it. Let's go in. I might tell you something. Actually, I'll try to tell you a little bit of what's going on in July. Because today is June the 7th. We're just beginning June. And our first July show is in 4 weeks. Because obviously we have next week's show, June 14th. The week after, June 21st. And then after that, July 28th. Or June 28th. Then it'll be July. But let's take a look here. For what we have for July. I'm going to try to get this done this week or next. So hopefully on the show, the 14th or the 21st, we'll discuss this more. There's actually not a whole ton for July. One thing I mentioned this last week, I forgot. One thing we're going to discuss, and I'm going to write this on the sheet here, MVP rankings. Those are going to begin July 26th for the Team MVP award for the year that I will give out. My vote for Team MVP. The MVP rankings, like I said, we will rank them. We'll pick 5 players. Like I said last week, I will do an MVP ranking of 5 players every week beginning July 26th. That's the first show. We're going to do the second half of the year because there will be no show July 19th because I'm not doing a show for 3 games against the Guardians. So starting July the 26th, there will be MVP rankings. And starting July 5th, this is what I meant to say, we will be doing trade deadline discussions. We'll be discussing the trade deadline and that because I know that's August 3rd, I believe. So July 5th, that gives us about 4 weeks, 3 to 4 shows to discuss it. So those are some things coming up. July 5th, we'll start getting more into the trade deadline. And when we talk about Wednesday, we'll talk about the bullpen, obviously. I think that's going to be a big need for us. I do. And then July 26th, we'll start the MVP rankings. I will tell you who I think the team MVP was on the last show of the year, whether it be following the Tigers series, But hopefully not then. Hopefully we discuss who the team MVP is after we win the World Series. But whenever the last game of the year is played, after that, I'll name my team MVP. Anyway, though, let's talk some baseball now for this week. That's a little bit about that. I will have more about the master plan either next week or the week after, so expect that one to be a little longer because I'll talk about that some more. And I will talk about once I will only talk about the Pirates Live 412 portion on this show. When I start each network, Steelers Live 412, Panthers Live 412, I'll do an introduction episode and I will talk about their master plan then. Some of it I'm going to have to keep tight-lipped because that's just how it works. And if I fail, I don't want to look like a moron. But I'm going to try to tell you a lot of it. I am. Alrighty, let's talk some here. But that'll be next week. That's before we get into baseball. That'll be either June 14th or June 21st. But for now, let's get into some baseball here. Sally. Things started off for the Pirates on Tuesday night. Road trip to Houston, winning 10-6. Brent O'Neill Cruz and Brandon Lau both hit 3-run home runs, giving us the win. Things weren't exactly pretty for Bubba Chandler, but we still found a way to get the job done. That was awesome. Very good to see that win Tuesday. Continuing the recent momentum we had from the Twin Series. So great job there. Wednesday, like all Pirate fans, this one made my blood boil. Albeit I did expect the team to lose on Wednesday, it still made me furious to the nth degree because of what happened against the Phillies. It was almost deja vu. It actually was deja vu. Against the Phillies, we had an 8-3 lead. On Wednesday, we had an 8-3 lead. Wednesday night, we lost 11-9. We also lost to the Phillies May 15th, 11-9. It was literally the exact same game. The bullpen cost it. And that one was an Ashcraft start, too, who's been probably our best pitcher this year. This was a Skeen start. We did good for a Skeen start. We just couldn't win it, though. That's an issue. It is an issue. We had this game. You can't let this happen. Soto's been very good this year, so I'm not going to judge him based off what happened against the Phillies and the Astros. I don't think our bullpen management was the best this game, I'm going to be honest. You cannot continue to let bullpen collapse after bullpen collapse happen and not address it. And I know the next day, Passan or whoever it is, Jeff Passan or whoever it is, put out something saying that this team is trying to get bullpen help. If it means paying a premium, it means paying a premium. Like I've said many times, a good deal would be to try to get, I wanted Johan Duran when the Phillies weren't great. Start up slow. You're probably not getting Johan Duran at this point because the Phillies just won a series against the White Sox, and the Phillies are looking really good right now. They're 35-3, and they're hot again. The Phillies are going to be fine. They're going to make the playoffs, and all's going to be good in Philly. We're not going to get Johan Duran. But I think we need to look at Josh Hader. I would deal Carmen, Triolo, and maybe somebody else, like maybe Thomas Harrington, to Houston in a heartbeat to get him. I mean, I'd like to potentially see what you got with Wyatt Sanford and Sammy Safora, considering your current shortstop, who's unfortunately hurt right now, we'll get to him at the end, but your current shortstop is here for 9 more years, and you have 2 shortstops that are top 10 prospects in the minors in high A, or whatever Greensboro is. They're in high A, and they're coming up at the same time. Like, we don't need 6 shortstops. You could easily deal one of them for bullpen help right now. And Sanford's hot, so somebody would take him in a heartbeat. But I don't know at this point. I mean, originally I was thinking Sanford, Mangum, and Harrington for Duran. I'd scrap that Duran deal at this point because I doubt Philly wants to go through with it. I would look into maybe doing Sanford or Mangum for someone else. Because you need bullpen help. And I'd prefer not to deal Mangum unless it's for an elite arm. So, yeah, I think you're safe there. I think you keep Mangum. I think the guys you really need to look at moving are Sanford, Harrington, and Majinski. Those are the guys you need to look at moving to get it. But Moral of the story is May 15th, June 3rd, sent one simple message. If the Pirates want to make playoffs this year, they need bullpen help. And there's no doubt about it at this point. You got to get bullpen help. Thursday, one thing I was proud of that we didn't do during the Phillies series, but we did Thursday night. We bounced back incredibly well following that. I know the Phillies, we lost the past two. Not only did we lose the next two games to get swept, we didn't score one single run in either of those games. Thursday night, we scored 5 runs. The Astros only scored 1. Shout out to Jared Jones and Carmen for holding the fort down. Carmen got the save, so applause to him. Give him a round of applause. Good job for him. So, great start for Jones. Good job by Majinski as well. I'm very, very happy with how this went. This weekend, though, was not as good. I don't think it was a disaster because I thought we were very competitive every day during the series. And you have to remember, as we've said, this is the best team in baseball, and it was in their ballpark. I think the Braves are a very talented team. They obviously are great. They're great. I don't think they win the World Series this year as of now, but they have a very strong side of buildings or being in the NLCS, to say the least. But anyway, we stay competitive this weekend. This was not a god-awful weekend by my standards. We stay competitive. I know we were swept, and I'm not happy about how this weekend went at all and the outcomes, but we stay competitive, and that's a big deal, whether you realize it or not. Friday, Ashcraft was on the mound, started out strong, looked good, and then the Braves just got to us. I think they scored 6 unanswered runs. Let me check that to confirm. I think they scored, 6 unanswered runs. Let's just see. To take the lead and the win, 6-3. This is exactly what I predicted. I predicted a 6-3 final on Friday, and that's exactly what it was. So, again, I'm not surprised at that in the least. Or this actually, I'm sorry, this was a Keller start. Friday was a Keller start. Let's take a look. Oh, no, we were up 3-1, and then the Braves came back and made it 6-3. Mauricio Dubon was the main reason for the Braves' success in this one. So, that's the guy to blame. But Braves win 6-3. Saturday, we hung in there well. Tyler Callahan had a good day. First start, I think, with the Pirates. So shout out to him. Great day for him. Round of applause there. He was a big part for sure. We fell down early, I think 3-0. And then we came back and made it a game, 3-3. But then Atlanta just responded, and they responded well, scoring 3 more runs. Rather disappointing for an Ashcraft start, considering how good he's been this year. But let's look at this. Considering how Skeens did against the Mets and how Ashcraft did against the Braves, that tells you something. Our pitching is very good. Our pitching is above average. However, unlike a year ago, we were awful a year ago. The team was not very good a year ago. But one good thing about 2025 was this. Our pitching set down power lineups, like the Phillies, like the Mets, like the Dodgers. This year, it seems like, though, our pitching has struggled against these power lineups. Like the series, or like Skeens against the Mets opening day. And like Ashcraft against the Braves Friday. And I think that needs to be addressed because guess who's coming to town this week? You seriously have to think about that if you're Don Kelly and Ben Cherington. You have got to think about it, to say the least. So, yeah, you got to think about that. So, yeah, that's what upset me about Saturday. The other thing that was disappointing, too, but we'll get more into this because it actually has somewhat of a happy ending to what was a sad story yesterday. Brandon Lau fouled a ball and it hit off his knee, and it did not look good yesterday with him leaving the field. He didn't limp off the field, but he didn't walk off the field in it seemed like the best conditions. But I mean, I was concerned. I was genuinely concerned yesterday. I thought yesterday that we could be without Lau until the Guardian series, which is the first series back after the All-Star break, as I mentioned earlier. I was concerned. I really was. But then we have better stuff to talk about today. As soon as I get done with this game, I do have a quick tidbit about Connor Griffin I want to talk about, and then we'll move on. But anyway, today's game, I just finished filming the recap show for this. We looked solid, actually, in this one. Spencer Horwitz with a home run to kick things off. I remember listening to the broadcast today. Actually, not the broadcast, highlights. They said how Horwitz has hit 6 home runs in 9 games there. He's obviously played there at Truist Park each of the last 3 years. 2026 with us, 2025 with us, and 2024 with the Toronto Blue Jays. How do you know? How do I know that, you may ask? Because the Blue Jays played in Atlanta right before us this week. And they alternate every year series because Boston is the American League team that goes to Atlanta every year. Toronto is the American League team that goes to Philly every year. So Toronto doesn't go to Atlanta every year. Similar to how Boston goes to Atlanta every year, similar to how Detroit comes here every year. It's just how the MLB does things. But Toronto only goes every year, just like how the Guardians only go every year. They're not here this year. They'll be here next year in 2028 or whenever baseball's back. And we'll certainly talk about the lockout and the salary cap stuff during the offseason, for sure. But not right now. But anyway. Though. So Horwitz hits the home run. Nicky G grounds into double play. Still scores a run. It's 2-0. We're off to a 2-0 start against Elder. Things unravel in the bottom of the 7th when Michael Harris II hits a bases-clearing double, and it scores 3 Braves. I forget who they were. I know Mike Yastrzemski was one of them, but that gives the Braves a 3-2 lead. It was off Evan Sisk, and then couldn't get the job done, couldn't come back. I was surprised because Sisk was rather reliable. Chandler pitched a good game for sure. Very thrilled with him. He did a great job this weekend. But, yeah. Overall, this weekend went... it didn't go good because we lost. But it did go awful because I thought we were competitive against a good team. And that matters in their ballpark. It really does. Now, just one thing I want to share. I want to share one thing I felt was good about the end of the game. And then we'll talk about Connor Griffin. Then we'll do the standings. But anyway, one thing I was thrilled to see at the end of the game was Brandon Lau hitting a double. But not Brandon Lau hitting a double. Brandon Lau playing and hitting the ball after what happened yesterday. Like I said, I thought this could be bad with Lau and that he could miss until the All-Star break, July 17th. He is in the lineup today. And I just talked about this on my postgame, but I'll talk about it again here. Tomorrow is an off day. Tuesday begins the Dodgers series. If he feels fine on Tuesday, Lau, I would DH him. I would not play him in the field yet on Tuesday. If he feels fine, if he plays Tuesday night and does fine Tuesday in the DH spot and doesn't look like he's in pain or uncomfortable or anything like that, on Wednesday night, you ask him if he's good enough to play the field. And if he is, then you play him in the field. That's how you do it. Because I don't want him to miss the Dodgers series. That would be bad. Is it possible? Yes. Is it ideal? No. Here's what I view though as highly unlikely. A 60-day IL stint. Or even a 15-day IL stint. In a worst-case scenario here, I think we're looking at 10-day IL. To be honest. I'm not a doctor or anything, so don't take my word like it. Take my word as a grain of salt. But that's just what I think. And I think he'll be okay. So that's it. Now on to Connor Griffin. So there was good news today and there was bad news. The good news is this. His injury is less serious than they thought, which is great. The bad news is he's going to miss a little more time than originally projected. Some thought he might be back this week or next week. It's looking like right now he might be back for the Mariners series, but I think more likely than not, we're talking about the Red series or even the Phillies series in Philadelphia. So that would not be good. And I'm a little concerned about that. So we've got to get him back ASAP. I think he's been out since like Friday or Saturday last week, the Twin series. So I think you're nearing that point, like where you could think about it. I hope he could be back for the Mariners series, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Reds or the Phillies. So it's still going to be a lot for KG, but he'll be fine. Hopefully he gets better, and hopefully this injury didn't set him back too much. I mean, I've heard dominated, has looked great ever since coming back. So, yeah. I don't think it'll be that bad for him, hopefully, but hopefully Griffin and Lau are both fine. They've been a great middle infield tandem this year, so I'm impressed by them. Our infield's done great this year. We have a great infield, so don't be worried. Alrighty, now before we get on to the standings here, we've recapped all the games for you guys. Now it's time, before we do the standings, of course, for our star of the week. I think the star of this week, it was a little tough because I didn't really watch any of the games. I just watched highlights of all the games. I had a really, really busy week. So, yeah, that's that. But I did watch highlights of the games, and we do have a star of the week for you. And I figured after everything, this player deserves it. I'm surprised he hasn't been a star of the week earlier, but I kind of wanted to give it to him. But first off, we have an interesting and funny honorable mention because I actually considered giving him the star of the week before I read and did some research. Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania is my home county. I was last night reading through the election results for the spring primaries. In case any of you don't know politics well, every May or April or whatever, there's a primary election held. Each individual party is their own. So, like, if you're a Democrat, you vote in the Democrat primary. If you're a Republican, you vote in the Republican primary. And these primary elections determine who the candidates are that will run on each ticket in the general election this coming November. So it's almost like the AL and NL playoffs. So, like, the AL teams, say in this case, because the AL is red, we'll use Republican. AL, Republicans, they do their like little postseason or primary, and they pick who's going to nominate them in the general elections / World Series. NL, the Democrat, blue, does the same thing. They do their postseason, they do their primaries, and they pick who's going to represent them in the general election World Series. And then those two collide, and then there's your winner. In Westmoreland County, in the Republican primary, when I was reading the results yesterday, in the Republican primary for Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania, you will never believe who somebody wrote in. Paul Skeens. Somebody wrote in Paul Skeens for Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania. So I just figured I had to give him a shout out for this one. Shout out and congratulations to Paul Skeens. Give him a round of applause for earning one vote in the election for Pennsylvania Lieutenant Governor. I just found that to be hilarious, guys. So just want to give Paul a shout out there. So good for him. If he pitches well this week, he's 100% the star of the week next week. But he's the honorable mention for star of the week because he got a vote for Lieutenant Governor. So give him a round of applause for being honorable mention for star of the week. Good for him. But the real star of the week this week, it shouldn't be surprising to you, it is Brandon freaking Lau. He has had a great year this year. I'd say he's the leader for team MVP right now, if you want my honest to God opinion. Brandon Lau, he hit the free-run home run in Houston to blow that game open. He came back strong after the injury and still hit a double and keep us in shape to potentially win the game or tie or win the game today in Atlanta. He deserves the star of the week honor. To be honest with you, I don't think there's really anybody else you could give it to. You could possibly give it to Jared Jones for his strong start or Carmen for the bullpen thing, but I don't think I'd be very popular if I gave it to Carmen Vincenski, but he did do great. Those two did great. Those are really your only other candidates for it. Obviously, Skeens because he got a vote for Lieutenant Governor. I still can't believe that. But that was funny. So, yeah. Shout out to Paul Skeens for earning one vote to be the next Lieutenant Governor of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And shout out to Brandon Lau for being the star of the week. So good to see him in the lineup. Who will be next week's star of the week, though? That's the million-dollar question. I'll be at all the games, so I will have a much better answer for the star of the week for this coming week than that. So, yeah, that's that here. Let's see first off if the game in Chicago are wrapped up between the Giants and the Cubs. Then we will discuss the standings. I just want to see real quick. They're in the bottom of the ninth right now, tied 1-1. I'm just going to go for the standings as they are right now. And then we'll give you an answer. You obviously can add one to either the win column for the Giants or the Cubs and do the same for the Giants. So, yeah. Cubs or Giants. we'll see. I'm just going to run through these standings here real quick because we're already at 25 minutes. I wanted to get through this in 35. We're not going to get through this in 35. There's a small chance we do, but I think we're looking more at 40 or 45. I just want to get through these standings here quickly. We can do this 5 minutes, minor league 5 minutes, top prospects maybe 2 to 3 5 minutes, and then preview the week. So now I'm going to try to speed through them. All right, let's start with the AL East now. AL East time. Tampa Bay Rays, you're 37-25. New York Yankees tied for the top of the division, 38-26. They're looking good. Blue Jays, 32-34, 7 back. Baltimore Orioles, 31-35, 8 back. Red Sox, 27-36, not in good shape. 10.5 back right now. I haven't really checked the standings much throughout the week either. This is my first time really checking them. Like I said, I've just been busy this week with everything, getting over this cold and all that, working out. And then Friday I was at the Morgan Wallen concert. So, yeah. Crazy they canceled yesterday, but we're not going to talk about a canceled Morgan Wallen concert on a Pirates podcast when we're already starting time. I'm sorry. We're just not. If anybody's a Morgan Wallen fan and was planning to go to that show, I'm sorry and I'm disappointed it was canceled, and I feel bad for you all, but unfortunately we don't have much time to talk about that. Maybe next week we'll talk about it a little bit, but I don't know. Actually, fine, we'll talk about it. I don't know what I think. I think there's a chance, obviously, that I think more likely than not, what happened was this. They expected the line of storms. Somebody in the Weather's office in Allegheny County told his tour manager or somebody like that, with your stage the way it is, Morgan, we don't recommend going out. And he didn't agree with it, but he said, I want to keep my fans safe. So he decided to cancel. It sucks for the people that were there. And I'm sorry for them. A lot of them, it seemed like tailgated, though, so I'm glad they had a good time tailgating. It just sucks that they didn't get to hear Morgan Wallen, and hopefully he comes back soon. So that's my Morgan Wallen take. I'm sure we'll discuss Morgan Wallen more at some point on this, but maybe next week we'll dive a little more into that show. But let's dive into the AL Central right now here. Cleveland Guardians, 37-30. They're leading that division. White Sox, they struggled some this weekend in Philly, but not too bad. 34-31. 2 back. Twins, oh dear God, it got worse for them. 30-37. They were 27-33 after our series. Now they're 30-37. So they went 3-4 this week, I'm guessing. Not very good. They are 7 back. Tigers, 27-39, making noise, 9.5 back. Seems like they had a good week, to be honest. They swept the Rays in Tampa, so give them that. And I think getting Scooble back will help them for sure. Royals, you're 27-39, 9.5 back. AL West time now. Finally, somebody's above 500 leading that division. Mariners, you're 34-32 leading that division. They're really good right now. Rangers, 32-33, a game and a half back. They're playing well. A's, 31-34, 2.5 back. They're not doing good recently. Stros, Astros of Houston, 30-37, 4.5 back. Angels, they're not doing too well. 25-41, 9 back. Not good. NL East time now. Let's talk about this. The Braves leading the NL East, 45-21. Of course they are. Phillies, you're in second place, 35-30, 9.5 back. Nationals, they're still playing very strong, 33-33, 500, 12 back. Considering the expectations for them, they're doing quite well. Miami, 31-35, 14 back. Mets, they're starting to start now and get a little better. They're closing the gap, 29-36, still 15.5 back. They may be able to compete for a wild card spot if they continue this surge, but I don't think they win the division. I don't. And that's a little concerning, for us, if we're in the wild card chase, if the Mets surge and get hot and get back in this. That's not good. Especially since they're getting more healthy now, too, it seems. NL Central time, Milwaukee Brewers, very hot for sure, 40-23, leading our division. Cardinals, they're 35-28, 5 back. Cubs, 34-31, 7 back. Pirates, 34-32, we're 34-32, as I just said, 7.5 back. Not bad, but not great. And the Reds, finally somebody in this division falls to under 500. It's the Reds. They are now 31-33, 9.5 back. They have not been good recently. Now let's look at the NL West before talking about the wild card in that here. Dodgers, 42-24. Diamondbacks, 34-31. They've seemed to cool down after their recent hot stretch. 7.5 back. Padres, 33-31. They're not doing too hot right now. They're 8 back. Giants, 26-39. Still not great. 15.5 back. And then you got the Colorado Rockies at 24-42. 18 back. So yeah, that's that. We'll do wild cards, and then we'll get into who is the hottest team over the past 10 and the coldest team over the past 10 this week. Wild card standings now, because this is where the important stuff happens. Leading the American League in the American League East in the number 1 seed, the Tampa Bay Rays. Second place in the AL, leading the AL Central, the Cleveland Guardians. Third place, leading the AL West, the Seattle Mariners. Fourth place, your first wild card, the New York Yankees. Fifth place, your second wild card, the Chicago White Sox. They're 4.5 behind them. And in third place, the third AL wild card and the last team in the postseason as of today, the Texas Rangers. And they are 6.5 back right now of the Yankees. The first team out right now in the American League and a half game back are the Toronto Blue Jays. 1 game back are the Athletics. A game and a half back are the Orioles. 3 games back are the Twins. 3 back are the Astros, who are starting to get hot. 4 back are the Red Sox. 5.5 back are the Tigers. 5.5 back are the Royals. 7.5 back are the Angels. So, kind of interesting there. Let's look at the NL now. Leading the NL and also Major League Baseball and the NL East, most importantly, the Atlanta Braves. They are your 1 seed for this right now. Your 2 seed leading the NL West, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Your 3 seed leading the NL Central, the Milwaukee Brewers. All the NL division leaders this year are dominant, and that's a little surprising, but not really. NL wildcards right now. Your first NL wildcard right now are the St. Louis Cardinals. Your second NL wildcard right now, and only on the rise, if you want my opinion, the Philadelphia Phillies, who are getting back in the first wildcard. Your third NL wildcard and the last team in the playoffs, if the season ended today, are the Chicago Cubs. They are your last team in, and they are 2 back of the Cardinals for the first wildcard. That shows you how hyper-competitive this is right now. Tied with them and your first team out, as of today, are the Arizona Diamondbacks. A half a game back of the last spot are the Padres and us. A game and a half back are the Nationals. 2.5 back are the Reds. 3.5 back are the Marlins. 5 back are the Mets. 8 back are the Giants. 10.5 back are the Rockies. I know I mentioned timelines a minute ago. One thing we will be doing with timelines here, starting in the second half of the year, I know I did this before when I did Pirates Weekly shows. We're going to do it again, and this will start July 26th. We will start not officially eliminating teams, but theoretically eliminating teams. So, like, July 26th, if you're over 10 back, you're probably not making the playoffs. And I'll just say, yeah, you don't have a good chance. Comes to August, we'll probably do this every 2 weeks till late. Comes to August, let me think, 9th, if you're 9 back, you're not in good shape. August 23rd, if you're over 8 back, you're not in good shape. September 6th, if you're over 6 back, you're not in good shape. September 13th, 5 back, and then the last week of the year, 3 back. So that's what we'll do for that. Something like that. I don't know if that's going to be the official thing yet, but that's just how we're probably going to do it here, and that's just where we are right now in baseball. Let's look at the hottest team in each league this week. It looks like the hottest teams in the American League, tied for it at 7-3, are the Seattle Mariners and the Texas Rangers. Both teams are looking very good right now. Those are your hottest AL teams right now. For the NL, the Braves are 8-2. They're your hottest team in the NL this week, and that shouldn't surprise you considering how they played against us. Coldest teams right now in the American League. Your coldest teams, it looks like as of now for this week, are the Rays and the Twins. The Rays starting to cool down a little, come back down to earth, following their amazing run recently. And the Yankees are starting to gain ground. So, yeah, market correction. What goes up must come down. What goes down must come up. You're seeing that with the Mets. They're starting to get better. Things are starting to get better in Flushing. You're seeing with some of these teams that surged early, things are starting to decline for them. So, yeah. The coldest NL teams this week looks like the Padres and the Reds at 2-8. So, yeah, it's that. Phillies and Mets are 7-3 this week. So, they're surging. The Mets are going to cut this for sure, I think. Mets are playing good. Phillies are going to come on strong. They're going to get it. It's all going to work out for these teams. Just as long as we stay in the hunt, that's what matters. Let's look and see how our minor league teams now are doing. As we just discussed that, we're already at the 45-minute mark, so we don't have much time. We only have 3 things left. We're going to do the minor league standings. We're going to look at our top prospects here a little bit, see where they're at, and then we'll preview the Dodgers series and the Marlins. Sorry to burp. Let's talk some minor league baseball. Sally, looking at the International League West, our AAA affiliate, the Indianapolis Indians, not looking too great right now, 25-38, 13.5 back. They are unfortunately in last place in that International League West. So that's not very good, but getting those stars to the majors, I think, is more important than a minor league record. But sorry for the Indianapolis Indians. I hope they do well, and I'm upset that they're not doing well. So hopefully things get better there soon. But they're 25-38, and I hope for those guys that are down there that they do well and they win. But things just start working out right now down there, unfortunately. Like I said, 25-38, 13.5 back, 4-6 over your last 10. That's not very good for the Indianapolis Indians. Let's look right now at our AA affiliate, the Altoona Curve. Boy, Reading had a free fall. They're 2-8 over their last. In the Eastern League Northeast, Reading, the Reading Fighting Phils, I thought they were in this for the loudest thing because I look at the standings, obviously. I somewhat follow them, but Reading, they're 2-8 over their last 10. A 10-game stretch could really doom you. Like, they're 24-33 right now, 2-8 in your last 10. So that surprised me. But when you look at that, like, oh wow, you suffer like a little shock when you like see team tanks. You just have to look at their last 10. Their last 10 tells you the answer for everything. So yeah, look at that. Right now, looking at the Eastern League Southwest, though, the Altoona Curve were 24-33, 13.5 back of the first place Richmond Flying Squirrels, 4-6 over our last 10. So unfortunately, things have not been good for our top teams, Indianapolis and Altoona, over the last 10. Let's look at our high A team down in Greensboro, North Carolina. They are in second place right now, behind the Frederick Keys. The Greensboro Grasshoppers, they're 35-22, a game and a half back, 5-5 over their last 10, but they've won their last 2, so hopefully things get better there soon. They'll be fine. I like looking at some of these minor league teams. Like, minor league baseball is so fun. They're in some cool cities, man, so I wish I could go to more minor league games and follow in more. I really do, because I love minor league baseball. It's great. Single A, Florida State League. This is another fun one. Bradenton, oh my gosh. This is not, now this is a problem. Bradenton, who was in it and was doing good for the longest time, is now 27-29. They're 8.5 back in the first place Clearwater, and they're 3-7 in their last 10. Simply not good enough. That is not good for Sir. I'm not happy about that. Let's look at our Florida Complex League teams now, and then we'll talk about the top prospects. FCL Pirates, they're in second place right now. Florida Complex League Pirates, 16-10, 1 game back, and they're 6-4 in their last 10. So that's interesting. Let's look at the Dominican Summer League right now, because I think that's underway. The DSL Pirate Dominican Summer League Pirates Gold team is 2-3 right now. They just started their year. 2 games back at first. DSL Orioles Orange is in first. There must be multiple teams in this. Like, they must have a ton of teams in this. DSL Pirates Black is 3-2. They're getting back at the DSL Mariners. And that's that for the Dominican Summer League. It's just got underway. Let's see if, I don't think we have a team in the Arizona League. I doubt it, because we obviously don't have spring training there. We don't. It's where your spring training is. And then the Dominican, I think everybody has a team. And they have multiple teams, as you could tell. We had a gold squad and we had a black squad. So, yeah. Let's take a look at our top 10 prospects, see if anything changed. I don't think it did much. I'm just going to update you on where our top 10 are, how they're doing. Not talk about this much this week. But anyway, our number one prospect, obviously, is Seth Hernandez. He's still right-handed pitcher. He's in high A. Estimated time of arrival is still 2028. Edward Florentino, outfielder, first base. High A, 2028. Third, Hunter Barco, pitcher, AAA, obviously 2026. This is somebody I could see us moving at the deadline if things don't work out here, especially for an elite bullpen arm. So I think you should look into that for sure as a helicopter goes by. So hopefully if it's somebody serious in that helicopter, like if it's a life flight, God bless that person. Dear God, if that is a life flight, please bless whoever is in it and help them be okay. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. That's that. All right, fourth, Youngston Garcia, the password. At high AAA, 2026. Outfielder, doesn't surprise you. He'll be back at fourth. Terramar Johnson, second baseman, AAA, 2026. He struggled this year, though, so I don't think we'll see him this year. Maybe next year. We'll see. Time will tell. He's my age, so that's interesting. Six, Floyd Sanford, shortstop, high A, 2028. Some people have mentioned him as possibly the next second baseman. This could work out. And if it doesn't work out, I think he could definitely be used as a trade piece for the bullpen, to help our bullpen. So look into that for sure. Seventh, this is a guy I'd like to see come up to the major leagues to help the bullpen or the rotation, but probably more so the bullpen. Antoine Kelly, pitcher, AAA, 2026. Hopefully we see him at this year. Maybe not now, but in the second half of the year for sure. So I'm hoping we see Antoine Kelly and Bo Burrows as well. His time is 2026, so hopefully it works out for some point this year. Eighth, Rafael Flores Jr., catcher, first baseman, AAA, 2026. I think with MD playing the way he has, I think his path to the majors right now is blocked, and he's going to be in high A for a little while. So, yeah. Ninth is Miss Marilyn Valdez, outfielder, first baseman, AAA, 2027. I don't know why it says that. That's ridiculous, but I think he's fine, and I think he'll be okay. He's good. And then 10th is Sammy Safara, single A, 2028. So, that's all right. Then you have guys like Dotel, who's still down there. Harrington, obviously. So you get tired. Like I said, we don't have much more left in this show. So we have very little. So we have a good prospect pool. We really do have a good young prospect pool, and I'm thrilled by that. Anyway, last part of the show here before we call it a night. Let's look ahead now to the upcoming homestand featuring the defending world champion, the Los Angeles Dodgers, coming in for free games starting Tuesday night, Tuesday at 6:40, June 9th, Wednesday, June 10th at 6:40, and Thursday, June 11th at 6:40. Then, this coming weekend is Bucket Luau weekend. Hopefully, I hear this song. If you like Piña Coladas, that is a good song. Unfortunately, I'd love to play it for you guys, but we can't because of copyright issues. But if you like Piña Coladas, I hope we hear that song this weekend. It's Bucket Luau weekend, so we definitely need to hear it. Friday night, 6:40 p.m. against the Miami Marlins. So that's probably why they did it. It's earlier than most years. 2023 and 2024 was over the 4th of July. We don't play at home the 4th of July this year, so that's that. So that's when it typically is, when we played at home over the 4th, and I like that a lot, but unfortunately they schedule us away then. 4th of July weekend's always one of my favorites. But yeah, that's why that's that. Last year it was later. It was like August 8th or something against the Reds that weekend. But this year it's really early. I love Bucket Luau weekend. It's one of my favorite weekends of the year, so I'm very excited for this weekend. It starts Friday night, June 12th. They're giving away a tiki mug. That should be a cool giveaway. Saturday's the big one, the Hawaiian shirt giveaway. 4:05 against Miami. That will be a fun giveaway. I can't wait for that. And then Sunday, 12:15 start. We're on Peacock or Amazon, or I think Peacock, whatever the heck it is. Sunday leadoff, 12:15 start. It's a kids retro lunchbox giveaway. So that's that. That's your series against the Dodgers and the Marlins this week. Let's look at pitching, and then I'll get into realistically what I expect. And then we'll call it a show. The pitching matchups for this week are expected to be as follows. Tuesday night's going to be awesome for one specific reason I'll get to in 30 seconds. Eric Lauer is pitching for the Dodgers with a 6.69 ERA. He'll be opposed by Paul Skeens with a 3.09 ERA. So that means on Tuesday night, we are getting Skeens versus Ohtani. And this will be my first time ever seeing Skeens versus Ohtani because each of the past 2 years I was not there. And let me just say, I can't freaking wait to see that on Tuesday night. Skeens versus Ohtani. That's going to be awesome to see. So I can't wait. I'm excited for Tuesday. Wednesday now. Shohei Ohtani himself is pitching Wednesday. He will be opposed by Jared Jones. Ohtani's ERA this year is .74. Jared Jones is 4.82. This guy is not human. Shohei Ohtani is not human. I will tell you right now. I just want to see what his batting average is this year as well. He is a .302 batting average with 11 home runs and a .74 ERA. That is not normal. That is superhuman stuff. I wish there was a Shohei Ohtani for all sports. Football, obviously, the closest thing right now to him is Travis Hunter, who's with Jacksonville. Obviously, James Gladstone, their GM, sacrificed a lot of draft pick capital to go up and get him. And the funny thing was there, Andrew Berry, the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, literally compared Travis Hunter to Shohei Ohtani. And then he traded Shohei Ohtani, essentially. So, being a Steeler fan, you could laugh at that one. But, unfortunately, Travis Hunter did not live up to the hype this year. Hopefully, he does well there this coming year. So, I like Travis Hunter a lot. I do. So, yeah. I want to see the Browns with that trade. Because I'm a Steeler fan. So, yeah. That's that. But, I'm psyched to see Shohei this week. He's awesome. But let's look at Thursday now. The Thursday matchup will be Justin Robleski, I think that's how you pronounce it, against Mitch Keller. Robleski is a .262 ERA. Keller is a .481. What's that? It's going to be a fun series this week with the Dodgers. I can't wait. That's going to be a lot of fun. Friday, Marlins series. Sandy Alcantara, his potential last start at PNC Park wearing Marlins colors. Because he's obviously going to be talking about a lot at the deadline. The Marlins obviously are in the hunt right now, despite being decent. They're not, really in contention. I would be surprised if they did move him at the deadline, to be honest. I know their GM, Peter Bendix, I like him a lot, and I like his philosophies a lot. Trying to build a long-term contender there, and I'm super excited for what they're going to do over the coming years. They have a great manager as well in Clay McCullough. Can't wait to see him this week. Actually came from the Dodgers, so that's great. Alcantara, 4.59 ERA against Ashcraft, 3.28. That's your projected for Friday. I promise we'll get done in 5 minutes, in the next 5 to 10 minutes. I promise. We're at 47 right now, I know. Saturday, Braxton Garrett, 14.54 ERA. Yeah, it's funny. Gets Chandler with a 5.05 ERA. I suspect there's going to be a lot of runs Saturday for the Hawaiian Shirt crowd. That's going to be good. And then Sunday, last matchup. Then I'll get into predictions. Then we'll call it a show. 12:15 Sunday. Max Meyer with a 2.81 ERA will go against Skeens with a 3.09 ERA. It's insane that Meyer, he's actually undefeated this year in his starts, has a better ERA than Paul Skeens. Here's what I think for this weekend, or these next 7 or 6. I'm thinking we go 4-2. That would be a good homestand. I think we could take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. I do. I think this team, look at the past 2 years what we've done. 2024, we took 2 out of 3. 2025, we swept them. And they won the World Series both these years. We won 5-1 in that stretch. That's huge. I think we take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. I really do. This coming weekend against Miami, I also think we take 2 out of 3. I do. Maybe even 3 out of 3. I would not be surprised with 4-2 or 5-1. I also would not be surprised with 3-3. Anything below 3-3 is disappointing. But I think we go 4-2. I do. I think we take 2 from the Dodgers and 2 from the Marlins, or potentially sweep the Marlins and take 1 from the Dodgers. Either or works for me. But I think we go 2-1 both series. I think that's what our homestand looks like, and I think that'd be a good homestand. So I think that's what we're thinking about right now. Anyway, let's discuss. That's all I have for you guys this show. I thank you for tuning in. I know this one went awfully long. We're nearing the 15-minute mark. I don't know how much we could shorten these shows by, to be honest with you. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. This is just the weekly recap. When we recap everything's understandably so it's longer. We talk about a lot on these shows here. So, yeah, that's that for that. Yeah. So I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this show. And we'll be back with you guys next week. Next week's show obviously looks somewhat similar to this. We will recap the series against the Dodgers and the Marlins. If I have my live 412 plan ready for you guys, or Pirates Live 412 plan ready, we will talk about that first. Then we'll get into the Dodgers-Marlins series, how those went. Then we will discuss, provided everything's all good, we're all healthy, no one dies, and the world doesn't come to an end. I highly doubt that happens, but I'm just saying. You always have to think about that. Keep that in the back of your head. We'll recap these series. We'll obviously name our star of the week. We will then discuss the standings, obviously. We'll then look at the minor league standings to discuss our prospects. And then we will look into a road trip coming up against the Athletics and the Rockies. So that will definitely be an interesting one to talk about. That's for next week, though. For tonight, I'm going to call it a show. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good one. Take care. Stay safe. And as always, peace and God bless. And I will see you guys here next Sunday night for this show. Bye. And enjoy your weeks. See you next Sunday night. Bye again.